An amazing day today at the Student Yachting World Cup with 4 races packed full with action and tactics. All the crews gathered early in the morning at the Port of Trente and hit the water with no delay. At the first race, the sailors chose the pin end side. The Chinese were ahead. Few meters windward, Team USA had some difficulties, while the Portuguese had a late start. The surprise came from Team Italy, which rounded the first mark, leading. The Canadians and the Norwegians were a few meters behind. However, the defenders of the trophy had not said their last word. With 2 excellent roundings, they managed to place themselves in front of the French and just behind the Norwegians. During downwind, Team Italy maintained its lead. The defenders came second, and the other team of England third. At the downwind mark, situation remained more or less the same. The passionate Italians had the lead, with the British just behind. The Swiss team performed a really masterful rounding. They have an amazing, absolute coordination and deserve to be on the podium. Will luck help them too? During upwind, the weather turned out to be really shifty, with clouds passing by quickly. That did not affect the top 3, who remained the same, with the Italians increasing their lead. The second British team fought for the second position, while the French did a comeback and wormed their way into 4th place. The Italians are in great shape, and it seems that nobody can steal the victory from them. Some problems for the defenders, though, who lost precious meters and secured their lead from their rivals only on the rounding. A few meters behind, the French had been lucky enough to see the mistake of their opponents. As for the Swiss team, they had a problem with their spinnaker and lost precious ground. At the second race, Team Portugal got disqualified because of a false start. The Americans and the French did a great start and got on top. But the Americans lost precious meters during upwind. So Team France got first at the upwind mark, just ahead of the defenders. These 2 crews are really strong and decisive contenders of the gold. The surprise came from Team Scotland, who rounded the buoy third, just in front of the Americans. The roundings for the rest of the fleet was crowded. Short reach, and a few things changed. During downwind, the English had some difficulties, coming from the Norwegians, who sailed close to them, blocking their wind. It's quite hard to maneuver during downwind with a boat blocking the wind from your back. Let's see the Americans, who seem to be on fire. They're a good team and ride the waves very well. Choosing the left side of the course was a good choice and gave them an advantage. At the downwind mark, the defenders got on top, with the second British, Scottish, and Norwegian teams behind them. The Japanese had some problems with their jib. Will they manage to finish? During upwind, the only change was the French, who got the lead again. However, the defenders didn't like this at all. They were on leeward and had to find a way to overpass them. The French didn't lose their calm and sailed carefully, placing themselves between their rivals and the buoy. Seeing these young sailors fighting with zest for the prestigious trophy of the Student Yachting World Cup is really exciting. Finally, the French maintained their lead, with the Scottish, the Swiss, and the Portuguese far behind. The third race of the day would be an inshore one, starting between the race committee boat and a buoy. The boats would have to round the upwind mark before heading for a small island in the Bay of Quiberon. Once again, the French and the defenders were on top, but this race would turn out to be a challenging one for both. Sailing inshore is totally different than windward-leeward races. The tactician has to predict the weather miles ahead. And with this shifty wind, this is quite difficult. Team French managed to stay on top during the long reach, and they rounded the small island with a safe lead. The rest of the fleet had some close-up battles. While the defenders and the other British team fought for second place, Team Switzerland did an excellent move during downwind and sailed lower than their opponents. This gave them a great advantage, making second place a big surprise. At the end, the 15 crews had to sail a coastal race on their way back to the port. Who would face the challenge successfully? The final results will let us know right now. Stay tuned.